Hello to the world and to the kingdom citizens. I greet you in the precious holy name of Yeshua Messiah, Yeshua HaMashiach, who said in his word, John 8:32, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Hi, I'm Dr. John Curry, Ambassador Pan-African, and welcome to the Embassy of the Kingdom of Heaven on Earth. If you want to follow this podcast, please subscribe to JC Global, Embassy TV 1, ring the bell, and hit the thumbs up button. Today's subject matter is this, coming from a great man by the name of Dr. Chancellor Williams, who is the author of The Destruction of Black Civilization. There's a part in his book and in this clip that I want you to see where the subject matter will be, the white man transplanted himself into the black man's mind in order to continue black genocide. Let's take a view at this clip, and I trust that you can benefit from it.
Important. Because once we begin to know gradually what has happened to us, and not until we begin to know it will we be able to deal with it, that all of us without exception, have been acculturated. We have attempted to be so American that sometimes it is charged that the blacks have been more American than anyone else in our devotion, in our attempt to prove ourselves American. We're the only group in the whole population that seem to be ashamed of our African heritage. Indeed, many deny an African heritage. They look upon Africa with scorn. They've forgotten, for example, that they are by race Africans. This isn't true of any other people in the American population. No other people. Now you have to keep this clearly in mind when you bring up the question of black on black, why blacks disrespect black. You bring up the question of why blacks seem to hate themselves, hate one another, why a black will kill a black with the drop of a hat, over 25-cent argument, whereas he wouldn't kill a white man who insulted his mother or raped his sister. You have to ask why. You have to ask why. And there's a reason for it. The reason is that in our acculturation, to put it graphically, we underwent what you might call a white mind transplant. The transplant of the white mind into black head. So when I said in one passage in the recent work that the greatest victory of the white world over the black was not the conquest of their land, as tragic as that was not the conquest of all the wealth, mineral wealth and otherwise, of their land, devastating and tragic as that is. It was not even the conquest of their bodies and an enslavement of their bodies, as tragically degrading and devastating as that was. But the white man's greatest triumph over the black, and what seemed to be an almost permanent triumph, was the conquest of the black man's mind. So that he doesn't have to, the white man himself, doesn't have to carry on genocide. You hear us hollering about white man genocide. White man doesn't have to carry on genocide. All he has to do is stand aside. And he can see that we're carrying on the genocide for him. We're the ones who are murdering our own people on a scale that amazes the world. Now, by contrast, if you want to get the difference in attitude. The day you hear of a Jew murdering a Jew, for example, not only would you find Jews generally shocked, but you'd find the population as a whole generally shocked. What, a Jew murdered a Jew? This isn't done. Jews, they wouldn't be Jews. Murder, they'll fuss and fight. But murder one another? Oh no, they're not going to do that. Why? Because instinctively they know that the survival of their race is involved. So they don't want to murder one. No matter how angry they may get, they don't want to murder. But because down through the years, they've held on to their cultural history. No matter in what land they live, no matter with what other institutions they identified with, in whatever country they live, they held on to their own history, their own tradition, their own religious ideas, and thus created this solidarity, so that no matter how small the number, they're strong, because they do know that it's a living fact that in union there's strength, and without union there's nothing. They don't stand together. Now we don't have that, so we see ourselves today running in all directions. Keep this in mind then, and this is the last thing I'll say on this particular subject, that it was through the process of acculturation, and this happened not only in this country, but wherever we have come under the domination of the white race. His first move was to blot out our own heritage. Even in Africa they did it. The mission school first objective was to make all things Africa savage. Was to teach that westernization was equivalent to civilization. That to be a Westerner was one's highest aspiration. This is what the black young people and those who had the opportunity to attend the mission schools in Africa taught. Anything African, no matter what, how noble it was in your tradition, you would drop it as something to be equated with paganism. And you didn't want to be a pagan, for that meant to be a savage. You want to be educated, be a European. And so the Africans in Africa strove to get away from those things which are African, to get everything that was African in their own native land, and to cleave to those things which are European and white, as representing the ideal. Same things throughout the islands. So we're not, what the phenomenon in the United States was not just peculiar to the United States. And this is why, then, that you read statistics such as 305 murders in a given city, 200 in a given year, 285 were blacks murdered by blacks. This is why, any time you pick up a newspaper and see that a prisoner was murdered, you don't have to ask whether it was a black murdered by another black. You don't have to ask that. You know it was. You know the black didn't murder a white man.